It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Cynthia stood in front of the water fountain at Ikeja City Mall. Her hands covered her mouth. Her heart was beating fast. She could barely breathe. Right in front of her, Richard was kneeling down, one knee on the floor, a small red box opened in his hand, a shiny diamond ring inside. People clapped and cheered. A few people shouted, "Aww, say yes!" Someone was playing a saxophone nearby. The sound of love songs filled the air. Richard looked up at Cynthia with a smile. "Cynthia, you are the love of my life. Will you marry me?" Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Yes, yes, I'll marry you," she screamed, laughing and crying at the same time. Then everything changed. "Jesus Christ, that's my husband!" A woman's voice echoed from the other side of the mall. Loud, angry, shocking. People turned. Cynthia turned too. The music stopped. The saxophonists froze. A woman was marching toward them. She wore a red gown and slippers. Her wig was slightly off. Her eyes were red as if she had been crying all night. "I said that is my husband," she shouted again, pointing at Richard. "Richard, you told me you were in Port Harcourt for work." Cynthia's hand dropped. Her smile vanished. Richard stood up quickly, looking like he had seen a ghost. "Babe, wait, I can explain," he stammered. Cynthia's voice trembled. "Who is she, Richard?" The woman in red stood beside them now, breathing heavily. "Who am I?" she said, looking at Cynthia. "I am his wife. We have been married for 7 years. We have 2 children. Ask him about Fola and Junior." Gaps filled the mall. Someone whispered, "God have mercy." Cynthia stepped back slowly. Her legs were weak. She had no idea that this was only the beginning of the nightmare. 2 months earlier, Cynthia met Richard at a wedding in Lekki Phase 1. It was a December wedding, full of jollof rice, small chops and dancing. Richard was a groomsman, tall, dark, bearded. His agbada was white and ironed like paper. He looked like money. He walked up to her during the after party. "Oh, beautiful, you look amazing. Can I know your name?" She smiled shyly. "I'm Cynthia." That same night, he asked for her number. By the next day, he was already texting her good morning messages. By the weekend, he had taken her to a rooftop restaurant in Victoria Island. He told her he owned a digital market company. "We handle big clients like Access Bank and GT Bank," he said proudly. Cynthia was impressed. She worked in HR at a new fintech startup, so she liked ambitious men. He never let her pay for anything. Always dressed sharp, always smiling, always saying the right things. In 3 weeks, he had sent flowers to her office 3 times. In 4 weeks, he was calling her my queen and saying things like, "I've never felt like this before." In 6 weeks, he started talking about marriage. Cynthia thought she had hit the jackpot, but she didn't know the truth. Richard was married. Not just married, he had a wife and 2 children in satellite town, and he wasn't planning to tell her. Richard lived a double life. On weekdays, he left home before 6 a.m. His wife Amara believed he was working on major contracts with banks on the island. He told her business was hard, that he had to stay late in meetings, that sometimes he had to crash in hotels because of traffic. But he was lying. Most nights, Richard was in Cynthia's apartment in Yaba. Sometimes he would even switch off his phone and say his battery died. When he was with Cynthia, he was a single man. He told her his mother had died, he even showed her a fake obituary poster he made on Canva. He said his father was old and sick in the village, so he couldn't come to Lagos. He claimed he was too busy to make friends, so Cynthia didn't ask to meet any of them. Every lie made his life easier, but Amara, his wife, was no fool. She had noticed the changes. Richard now hid his phone like it was gold. He smiled at text and locked his WhatsApp with his password. He had started buying new clothes and colognes without explanation. He even bought condoms, claiming they were for his friend. One day, Amara followed him. She took a bath and told the driver to follow his car. That was the day she saw him enter Cynthia's apartment. That was the day her world began to break. Her name was Amara, a teacher at a public school, simple, soft-spoken, and loyal to a fault. She met Richard 9 years ago during NYNC. He was broke then, struggling to find his feet in Lagos. Amara was the one who fed him, borrowed money for him, and even helped type his CVs at a cyber cafe. They got married in a small ceremony, no crowd, just family. Then 2 years later, they had their first child, Fola. But Richard changed. The moment his business picked up, the moment money started flowing in, he became distant. He stopped coming home some weekends. He started sleeping with his phone under his pillow. He told Amara he needed space, that she was holding him back. She cried, she begged, but he packed out of the house and moved to the mainland, saying it was closer to his clients. What Amara didn't know was that he had started seeing Cynthia, and he had promised her marriage too. Cynthia's best friend Linda didn't like Richard from day one. "He's too smooth," she had said. "I don't trust men who are too perfect." But Cynthia wouldn't listen. "Linda, you're just jealous because I finally found someone who treats me right," Cynthia had said. Still, Linda did her own digging. One day, she followed Richard from Cynthia's place after a date. He took a detour, not to his supposed bachelor pad, but to a quiet street in Satellite Town. She waited in her car and watched him enter a compound. 10 minutes later, a woman came out of the house with 2 kids and hugged him. Linda was stunned. She snapped a picture from her car and rushed to Cynthia the next day. But Cynthia didn't want to hear it. She refused to believe it. "That could be anyone's house," she argued. "You're just trying to ruin this for me." Linda sighed. "You're too in love to see the red flags." And she was right. Richard was a master manipulator. He told Amara he was working overtime to pay school fees. He told Cynthia he was saving up for their wedding. He told the staff that he was single so clients would take him more seriously. Every lie had a reason, and every woman believed him. But things began to unravel when Fola, his daughter, got sick. Amara called Richard over and over. No answer. She texted, nothing. After 3 days of silence, she took Fola to the hospital herself. But the bills were high. She needed Richard's help. Desperate, she decided to go find him. She opened his laptop, something he always told her never to touch, and that's when she saw it. Photos of him and Cynthia, holding hands at a beach resort, kissing at a rooftop restaurant, and an email confirmation for a surprise public proposal at Ikeja City Mall. Amara felt like she couldn't breathe. Her husband was about to propose to another woman in public. She printed the email and she made up her mind. If Richard wanted drama, he would get it. Cynthia was glowing that morning. She had no idea what was waiting for her. She got her nails done, she did her hair, and wore the new gown Richard had bought her. A peach-colored dress that fit her perfectly. He said he wanted to take her out for a special dinner. He picked her up in his black Lexus at 5 p.m., smiling like nothing was wrong. As they drove, he said, "You have made me a better man, Cynthia. I can't imagine life without you." Cynthia blushed. "Oh, baby, you're going to make me cry." Meanwhile, at the same time on the other side of Lagos, Amara was boarding a boat from Satellite Town. Her red gown was the same one she wore when she and Richard celebrated their second wedding anniversary. She didn't fix her wig, she didn't care about her slippers, she was shaking, her heart was breaking, but she was ready. The ride took 1 hour because of traffic, and the whole way, Amara held tightly to the printed proposal invitation. She had no plan, no speech, just pain. She knew Richard didn't expect her to find him, but today, the lies would end. At Ikeja City Mall, Richard had already arranged everything. A saxophonist was playing in front of the fountain. A videographer stood by, ready to capture the moment. A small crowd had started to gather, some strangers, some of Richard's friends who were in on the surprise. Cynthia stood by the fountain, looking around, slightly confused. "What's going on?" she asked. Richard smiled. "Just wait, my queen." He dropped to one knee. The crowd gasped and clapped. The saxophonist played a slow love tune. Cynthia's eyes widened. Her heart was pounding. He pulled out a small velvet box with a shining diamond ring inside. "Cynthia," he said, "from the day I met you, I knew you were the one. Will you do the honors of marrying me?" Cynthia covered her mouth, crying tears of joy. Yes, I'll marry you." The crowd erupted in cheers, but just then, Amara came in. "Jesus Christ, that's my husband." The mall went quiet. Everyone turned. Amara came storming through the crowd, red gown flying, wig slanted, holding the printed paper in her hand like a weapon. "I said, that's my husband," she screamed, pointing straight at Richard. "Richard, you told me you were traveling for business." People gasped, murmured, phones started recording. Cynthia's smile faded. She looked at Richard. He was frozen. His eyes were wide, his mouth slightly open. He didn't say a word. The saxophonist stopped playing mid-note. Amara shoved her way to the front. "You think I wouldn't find out? I saw the emails, the pictures. How could you do this to me, to your children?" Cynthia looked like her soul had left her body. "Richard," she whispered, "who is this woman?" Amara turned to Cynthia and said, "I am his wife. We have been married for 7 years. We have 2 kids. My daughter is sick in the hospital and is here doing proposal videos." Then she turned to the crowd. "You people should ask him. Ask him. He left his home and children for this?" Richard finally spoke. "Amara, calm down. Let's talk somewhere else." Talk? She raised the printed proposal invite high. "You planned all this while your daughter is on drip? You are a demon. Richard, a heartless liar." Cynthia slowly took a step back. Her eyes were on the ring, then on Richard, then on Amara. It all started sinking in. This man was married. This entire love story was a lie. The crowd didn't know what to do. Some were recording, some had their mouths open. A few people were whispering things like, "Ha, this Lagos men no get fear o. Ha, see disgrace. So na like these women go dey suffer." Cynthia stood still. The ring was still in Richard's hand. She couldn't breathe properly. Her heart was thumping. Her hands were shaking. "Richard," she said in a small voice, "tell me she's lying." Richard looked like he was about to faint. "Babe, please. I was going to tell you. Cynthia took a step back. "You were going to tell me? When? After the wedding? After I gave birth?" Amara shook her head, bitter and tired. "This is what I've been living with. A man who lies with a straight face." Then she looked at Cynthia. "I'm sorry, my sister. You didn't deserve this, but I had to stop it. I had to stop him from ruining another woman's life." Richard reached out, trying to hold Cynthia's hand. "Cynthia, please, it's not what you think." She slapped his hand away. Tears filled her eyes again, but this time they weren't from happiness. They were from betrayal. "You are a monster," she whispered, "and I'm ashamed I ever loved you." Then she turned and walked away. Amara gave Richard one last look and followed behind her. The saxophonist packed his things quietly. Then the crowd began to scatter. Richard remained on one knee, alone, still holding the ring. Cynthia cried all night. She locked herself in her room, switched off her phone, threw away every gift Richard had ever given her. The shock didn't let her sleep. Her chest hurt like someone was pressing it. She kept playing the scene over and over in her mind. The red gown, the scream, "That's my husband." She felt like vomiting. All her friends had warned her. "He's too perfect, Cynthia. No man falls in love that fast. Be careful with Lagos men, oh." But she thought they were just jealous. She was wrong. By morning, her eyes were swollen. Her voice was hoarse. She opened the phone. Messages were everywhere. One video had already gone viral on TikTok. Proposal gone wrong. Married man exposed. She felt naked, embarrassed, angry. And worst of all, she still loved him. She hated herself for it. Meanwhile, back in Satellite Town, Amara sat at her daughter's hospital bedside, feeding her small spoons of pap. Tears rolled down her cheek, not from anger, not from shame, but from deep exhaustion. She had loved Richard with all her heart. They had met in university. He was poor then, with only one shoe and big dreams. She supported him, prayed with him, even sold her gold chain to pay his rent once. When his business picked up, things changed. He got an office, then a car, then he moved them to a bigger apartment. But with the money came distance. He stopped calling her my love, started locking his phone, started coming home late. She asked him many times, "Are you cheating?" He always said no. Now she knew. He didn't just cheat. He tried to start a whole new life without her, without his children. And that pain was worse than any slap or insult. She looked at her daughter, thin, tired, innocent. "This girl doesn't deserve this," she said softly. "None of us do." Cynthia didn't cry anymore. She was tired of being the one in pain. Now she wanted answers and justice. She wore black jeans and a plain white top. No makeup, no smiles. She called her friend Bimbo. "Babe, I need your help," she said over the phone. Bimbo came over in 20 minutes. "I want to find out everything about Richard," Cynthia said. "Where he lives, where he works, who else he's lying to." Bimbo nodded. "Say no more." They searched through old pictures, receipts, emails. One receipt had the name of a dry cleaner located in Festac. "That's close to Satellite Town," Bimbo said. "Maybe that's where he lives." Cynthia made up her mind. "I'm going there." Bimbo opened her mouth. "You sure?" Cynthia's eyes were cold. "It destroyed my heart. I would destroy his lies." It was a hot Thursday afternoon. Cynthia and Bieber wore sunglasses and caps. They dressed like people coming to visit a friend, nothing suspicious. The area was quiet, neat compounds, big gates, a few boys selling recharge cards by the road. They got the address from an old delivery box Richard once left at her house. They knocked on the black gate. A small boy came out. He looked about 7. "Who are you looking for?" he asked. Cynthia smiled. "We are here to see Mr. Richard. He forgot something important." The boy nodded. "Daddy is inside. Come in." Cynthia's stomach turned. "He's really here." They worked in slowly, and there he was, Richard, in a singlet and shorts, eating boiled yam and egg sauce. His eyes widened like he had seen a ghost. Cynthia?" Cynthia didn't shout. She just looked around. Pictures on the wall, a wedding photo, a family calendar, proof everywhere. "Is this your house?" she asked. Richard stood up slowly. "I can explain." "Where is your wife?" Cynthia cut in. "She went to the hospital with our daughter." Cynthia nodded. She turned to Bimbo. "Take the pictures. Record everything." Richard rushed forward. "Wait, don't do this." But Cynthia wasn't listening anymore. "You made me think I was the only one. You planned the whole proposal. You invited a saxophonist." She shook her head. "You're wicked, Richard." The video dropped that night. Cynthia posted it on her WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, and even Facebook. "Ladies, beware. This is Richard, the man who proposed to me while hiding a whole wife and 2 kids in Satellite Town." Within hours, it spread like wildfire. Popular Lagos blogs reposted it. YouTubers made reaction videos. Her story was everywhere. She started getting hundreds of messages. "Thank you for speaking up. The same thing happened to me. You are strong, sis." Even Amara, Richard's real wife, reached out. They spoke on the phone that night. "I never meant to embarrass you," Amara said. "I just couldn't let another woman suffer like me." Cynthia replied softly, "You did the right thing. He fooled us both." The 2 women didn't fight. Instead, they comforted each other, and together they decided Richard's lies would not win. The next day, Richard's office was quiet. Nobody greeted him as he worked in. The receptionist looked away. His staff didn't say good morning. His clients started calling, asking questions. "Richard, is it true? Why are you trending online for the wrong reasons? Do we want someone like you handling our accounts?" By 3 p.m., his biggest client, a real estate firm in Lekki, dropped him. "We can't afford the bad publicity," they said. Richard sat in his office chair, sweating. His phone buzzed again. It was his landlord. "I saw your name on Instablog. You didn't tell me you had 2 families. I want you out by the end of the month." His life was falling apart. He called Cynthia, she didn't pick. He texted her, she blocked him. He tried to call his wife Amara, she didn't answer. His lies had finally caught up with him. Amara sat by herself, staring at the ceiling. Her children were sleeping in the next room. Richard hadn't come home. She wasn't even worried. She felt something stronger than worry. She felt peace. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like she had to beg for love. She picked up her phone and called her cousin. "I need a job, something small to start with." The cousin was surprised. "You want to start working?" "Yes, I'm tired of depending on a man who doesn't respect me. I want my own money, my own life." The cousin promised to help her get a position at a supermarket in Festac. It wasn't much, but it was a beginning. Amara smiled for the first time in days. No more lies, no more tears, just me and my kids. Cynthia got invited to speak on a woman's podcast in Lekki. The topic was how I survived the fake engagement. She wore a yellow gown and a bold lipstick. She looked strong. She sat in the studio and told her story, from the surprise proposal to the heartbreak and the revenge. People called in, thanking her for being honest. "You've given us courage, Cynthia," one caller said. "You showed us we are not stupid for falling in love, just unlucky." Cynthia smiled. After the podcast, she got an email from a tech company. "We saw your story. We would like to have you come join our team for a women-focused program launch." Her pain had opened a new door. She said yes. Later that night, as she walked past the same fountain at Ikeja City Mall, she paused. Same spot, same place he proposed, but this time she didn't cry. She smiled and walked past it with her head high. It broke me, but it didn't destroy me. Thanks guys. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to Learn Folktales for more videos. Thank you. Bye.